Okay, we're going to be watching JustJammin, who's playing Lucio on Nepal. This is Diamond 1 on console. I dropped from Masters to Diamond, can't retain my 60% win rate anymore. I can't tell if I'm overextending or over-enabling bad plays too much to get value, or I'm just misjudging triages, but I've been on a steady decline from Masters since the opening of the season till now. This match was stupid close, and I don't think we had any business losing, but we fumbled hard at the end of point 1 and 3. Okay, so let's take a look. I've already pre-watched this video. My general read here is I think that you know what you're supposed to be doing as Lucio. I think you have the correct reactions to what the enemy is doing and what your team is typically doing. I don't think you're being super efficient with your time and actions, and that hurts you, and you're not always in the right position to make the right play. And especially as support, where I think your base level of value contribution isn't necessarily that high compared to, like, let's say DPS could always be getting picks, but there are certain key moments where you really need to be like in the right spot at the right time, and if you're not there, then things will not go well for you. Okay, so let's watch. Start out totally fine. You're going to the right. I don't know why your Ryan's going to the left. You are doing the correct thing. So you set up here. And one thing to note is, as Lucio, right, always be farming barrier, right? Super important. Sound barrier is either number 1 or number 2 for longest farming ultimates in the game in terms of points required to get it. So you really have to be good at farming barrier, right? Something that's so important is to get it like before they're able to pop their ultimates, then wipe your team. Because, for example, they pop their DPS ultimates and kill your team, and then you have beat. Like, what are you going to do with it, right? Like, beat alone is not necessarily all that good value, but canceling out an opposing DPS ultimate and winning the fight is huge. So always be farming ultimate. And we're going to see right now that you play super safe, right? You got to be shooting right now. Regardless of whether or not you're playing this side or this side, you got to be shooting like constantly. You're full health right now. It's not like they have a sniper. Like, you don't have to worry about getting one shot here. You need to be shooting. So you see how you're still playing passively here? You have to be peeking right now to farm beat, right? And if you don't feel comfortable being here, you can just play this side, right? This is also fine. Just whatever you can do to constantly be farming beat. You take a hit from Ryan here, which I wouldn't like. I think that you could have knocked him back. One thing to think about is, because you're playing Lucio, right? You probably have a lot of hours of Lucio if you've gotten all the way to Masters. You always have less healing than the opposing team, almost always. So, generally speaking, you do not want your Rhynes to trade swings at full health, because their Rhine is going to get way more healing than your Rhine is. You want to look for opportunities where you can speed your Rhine in or speed your Rhine out, and that is your massive value. Not like the attrition, like, oh, let's swing each other until one side or the other dies. You're just not good at that because you don't have healing. So try to avoid trading swings when unnecessary. This is a good moment where you could swing, or you could speed rather. So their barrier is down, their Rhine is at 3/4 health. I think this is a good opportunity to go in. You play passive here, which I think is okay. I think this I would have beat it, or rather sped and committed here, right? Again, the Rhine shield is down. Like, he should just die here. You just speed in, just go wham, 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 right? Your Rhine goes in, swing, swing, swing. All 3 people are dead. So, and there's not really much that they can do to stop that. The longer the fight goes on, the more opportunity you give them to heal back up their side, and then your advantage is going to dwindle over time. Your mate's going to die there. Again, not much you can do other than going faster. I think if you get faster, your mate probably doesn't die there. Then you're out of position to stop the Rhine charge. So you see how you're around the corner? You don't need to be. You're 200 health right now. No one's even peeking you on the Lifeweaver, who's obviously not going to kill you. Play out here, right? And then you can knock the Rhine back, right? Or put him sideways. Anything that saves your Rhine. So you end up throwing this fight. So once Ryan dies, fight's over. I do want to note here, you're going to come back. So your aim is a big problem. It's a big problem. It's not even necessarily aim. It is trigger discipline is a huge problem. You just often attack without aiming at a target. So, for example, right now, you are flanking the Mercy. I would say that this is a really good opportunity to kill the Mercy. I think you have at least a 50% chance of just solo killing this Mercy right now. So we see 4 shots go into the ground. Another 4 shots into nothing. Like, that's not really aimed at anybody. Okay, we're going to go. And then you're over the Mercy. You see, like, these shots again, like, not at anyone. Another 4 shots straight into the ground. Like, they're not even close to the Mercy. And then the final 4 shots, again, have no chance at hitting the Mercy, right? Also, when the Mercy went by you, you had the opportunity to melee her, right? When she's super low, that probably makes a difference. It's not going to kill her right away, but somebody else might have killed her. Again, look at the aim. So just look at your shooting right now, okay? So what is this? You just wasted 4 ammo. Wasted another 4 ammo. Like, you're not actually aiming at anything. And that's going to hold you back for sure in Masters. right? Like Masters Lucios don't look like this. They don't just randomly span walls while they're walking around. It looks like you're just holding down the attack trigger while you move around. Like it's just coincidental when the shots hit targets. So again, I'm gonna harp on aim just a little bit more. So most of the shots in the shield, that's okay. I mean, not the biggest deal. These shots, I guess, sort of on target. I think he's clearly moving backwards, so you should be tracking backwards, but you're not. But okay, fine, right? These 4 shots are nothing. Like, that just goes, there's nobody even here, and those shots are clearly not on target either, right? And then more shots where you're just, like, firing, like, suppressing fire as though that does something. Those shots, finally, like, we are on target. Like, when you're actually feels like you're aiming. That should have been a melee kill on the Mercy right now. And then shots into the wall. Right? Like, this is really, really going to hold you back. Like, for Lucio especially, like, the damage you deal is not trivial to your overall kit. Like, you have to be very good at Lucio. Like, if you want to get up to High Masters GM, you have to be very good at dueling people. And right now, you can't even shoot people who are not even trying to dodge you. So, yeah, for sure, something that you need to work on a lot, in order to sustainably be in Masters, if not climb out of Masters. So, spread team in, great, things are going well, right? Another wipe, great. I'm like going past this because like I don't think the advice here is helpful, right? Like you basically did the right thing, / your team did the right thing, so great, you know, you wipe, cool, right? May walls off, great. Get another kill, another wipe, yep, good, following the spawn, great. Fast forwarding through. So, Ryan goes in, probably a mistake. So you're gonna hear High Noon behind you, and then you pop it. I would personally have probably held this. The reason being is how high you are from the ground. So the time it takes you to land means that likely he's going to be able to get a kill before you do, which is exactly what happens, and then the beat ends up not being as useful. So you're going to popping that. All right, you see the Cassidy is not a problem anymore, right? He's around the corner, you already get beat. You turn, you see how low the Rhine is? This should be, right, another 80 damage from you right now, right? 80 damage, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you were a little slow to kill the Rhine, and he ends up dying. So you go over here to duel the Cassidy. To be perfectly honest, you do not have the mechanical skill to duel an average skill DPS at your level, based on what I've seen from this game, right? So I would not take this fight, which is okay. Like, you don't have to be able to beat a DPS 1v1 to climb. Like, if you can, great. But, like, generally DPS are favored, especially Cassidy is super favored in a Lucio matchup. Right? Equally scaled Lucio versus Cassidy, I think Cassidy wins 80-90% of the time in this situation. So taking this fight is not a good idea. You can't think, oh, like you're a little too, this is a common thing throughout the game, you're a little too objective focused and less team fight focused. I don't worry about the Cassidy at all. I want to make sure my team wins this fight. If they cap the point, great. We just come back, kill the one Cassidy cap, and win the game. So going to the point right now to contest is a bad idea. So now you're stuck in a duel with the Cassidy at close range where he can magnetic you, right? Thankfully, you knock him out of range. He somehow misses this magnetic. You get stuck in the corner. Briggs here too, and then you just die instantly. Right? You could be out here doing something. I know, like, you're like, oh, the point's capping. That's fine. Like, help your team win the fight and then guide them back to point. Going to point and just dying like this was useless. Right? Or at least stay with your Mei and make it a 2-on-2 instead of a 1-on-2. So we're chilling here for now. Their Ryan makes a mistake. We're in. That was a bad boop right there. Because your Ryan is in swing range, and then you boop her away. You go in, and that boop ends up being very critical, right? Because the Ryan stops chasing because of the boop. See? He's like, oh, screw it. And then he leaves. And then you're like, oh, I gotta help my Mei. Which is understandable. I understand why you're helping your Mei here, but if you had not booped the Brig, the Ryan would still be here on the Brig, and the Brig would be dead. You go in, you try to help your Mei, right? You ignore the Brig completely, which I understand because she's like rallied, but also she's still somewhat low. You're trying to focus on the Cassidy, but it's just a really bad room to be fighting against a really bad hero combination, and then you die. I think you should have played more evasively here. Once you go in, I would have, well, I mean, you don't have boop anymore, but like I think running through the Brig who can consistently hit you was a bad idea. But you could have gone over the top of the room and then bought a little time for Mei ultimate to happen, and then you could get both of these kills right now. Right? But still, bad decision bumping the Brig back and then taking that 2-on-2 in that small room was not something that you realistically could have won. It's not likely to result in a win. So, going in right now, trying to knock the Brig off, which is a good attempt. Ryan takes 2 off, 3 off. Yeah, he takes 2 off himself. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so that's good, right? Ryan makes this fight winnable. Again, you see how you're just shooting to shoot? Like, you're not actually thinking about aiming at all. And it's a problem. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think beating here is fair. So once beat goes off, you have to be super aggressive. Because again, their team is going to be responding and coming back. Like, I would be running into these at even a straight line to confirm the kills as fast as I can. I just saw more fade in, right? So I got a few seconds to pressure her out before this happens. You're just not aggressive enough. See, you're kind of chilling here, being like, oh, I'm sure beat will keep my team alive and my team will win the fight, instead of I personally will win the fight. That's your perspective. When beat went off right now, you have 750 health, right? You have more health than tanks. Go kill someone. Like, you have to get a kill right now. It's extremely important. Like, you with beat, you should have killed the Moira or killed the Soldier, or at a minimum, force defensive cooldowns from them. At a minimum. Doing neither one of these things because you're super passive is a big issue. Right? And now you come in, and now we're going to see how your general lack of impact is a huge problem, right? You don't have as much healing as the Moira does. The Moira can keep the Ryan alive through both you and their Ryan, right? And speed's not going to help you because you're already fighting in a brawl on the point, and now you just have no tools to do anything to impact this fight other than getting kills yourself, which you don't do. And you get killed by the Ryan here, which I think is unacceptable, right? You see the Ryan's targeting you. Right here, you see the Ryan's targeting you. You should have been up and going over the top to get out of swing range instead of just trying to go through him like that. I think you also had Boop here. No, you didn't quite have Boop yet. But yeah, you should have evaded that. Even if you had to leave this way to get away from the Ryan, still worth it, right? And come back up and over the top. Yeah, I think it's, you can kind of see your issues there magnified at the very end, where you just don't do anything to impact the fight, right? You pop beat and you want your team to win the fight for you, which is a mistake. So this round's gonna be pretty much a roll. Again, your speed gets you out to the middle point earlier, which jams them up in the choke. They don't really do a good contest from there. So again, your aim is so bad. I hate to harp on this, but it's actually a huge problem, right? So you have 20 ammo right now. Let's watch where the ammo goes. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's misses. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's misses. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's kind of lucky. The Mercy flew into you, but we'll give it to you. So that's 1 for 12. 1, 2, 3. So one of those hit the shield, so we'll ignore it. And then you miss one more there, right? So that's something like 1 for 17-ish. Your accuracy is so bad. Your accuracy is 10% maybe, right? And you're it's really, really bad. You just spam shots all the time for no reason. Anyway, High Noon gets popped. You decide to pop beat here, which I do not agree with, right? I can hear the direction. I hope you have a headset. I can hear the direction of the High Noon. I know he's either here or he's here. Regardless, my team should be in cover. So why would I pop beat here? Just chill. Just wait it out, right? We already controlled the point. It's not a big deal. Ryan will walk onto the point, he'll put a shield up, and then we kill him. I think this is a big waste of a beat, which we're going to see. Regardless, your team ends up steamrolling from here, 94, 95, 99. Great. 1. Okay, so, last point. You're going to go up. So, remember my suggestion that letting your Rhines trade blows is bad for you. Okay? It is bad for you. Your perspective should be, I want to keep them out of this choke. I want to keep them back. And then we can control choke, control point, control angles, and that's how we win, right? Trading blows, not good for you because you just don't heal enough. You do not heal enough. Especially single target healing. AoE healing is actually pretty good. So I would have rotated early because your Baptiste has the Ryan, keeps the Ryan alive, right? I would have rotated to the right side to keep your DPS up higher versus forcing your Baptiste to try to hit these skill shots on the right side. So again, looking at how you're just spamming shots to shoot, right? Reload. You're just shooting, right? What is this? What are you aiming at? There's nothing here. You're just shooting. At least make sure your shots are going down the lane so that you have some chance at hitting a target. Again, more shots just going into the ground. So it's funny that you stepped away from here right at the moment where I would have thought that they're pushing it. Like you can hear / feel that they're starting to come in right now. Even without map vision, like I know when I see the Rhine coming up, like they're coming right now. You got to be knocking this Rhine back. Again, trading shots, bad for Rhine, right? Bad for you when you're playing Lucio. Do not let your Rhines trade too many swings with each other. See? This is exactly what happens. So because you allow your like basically you're trading damage equally, okay? But that's bad because your team has a lot less healing than they do, which means that your Ryan eventually just gets burned down here, right? He just doesn't have enough health to sustain this fight. Like he's trying to keep them out, right? Make space, he's overextending a little bit, right? And he just gets melted here because you just don't have healing. You should have already been there, knocking all of these people back. You see 4 people right now aiming at your Ryan. That's where your boop has massive value. Knock them all backwards, buy your team time to get kills in the back, which I think is actually going to end up happening anyway. Yeah, your team ends up cleaning this up regardless, but I think you got lucky there. So this is all fine. It's a wipe. Great. Doing a little chase down. You're back on point. Okay. So what the heck happens here? Oh, your Rhine dies and you're taxiing. Okay. I don't know what the heck your Rhine's doing. Alright, so you're coming back to point. This is unfortunate because your Rhine's dead. I think you want to play time here, right? You don't have your Rhine here yet. You want to play slow. Your Rhine's actually going to be going for a flank shatter, which is a bad idea. But you just want to play slow. Just stay alive. I don't want to play tight to the corner because the Rhine's going to walk over me, okay? Play up, right, around the sides is what's good for you right now. Like when you have boop, you can play here, but until or after you have boop, then it's no good. So you eat that fire strike. So let's walk through this slowly, okay? So Ryan's going to come up. Again, my perspective should be time, right? I'm not trying to get kills here, right? I just want to buy time. Time. So Ryan's going to come up. I see fire strike swing happening. I should be ducking this swing. Then after this, I expect them to keep walking into me, so I should get ready to boop right away. You don't boop, right? Too late. You take that shot. Now you're at 74 health, which allows you to get gunned down and get killed, right? So you hit the fire strike, you hit the swing, and then both of which were preventable. But your team still manages to hold it. You're coming back to the fight. So again, you got to be tracking numbers, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, right, including you, against a Rhine. This beat is a throw. This was completely unnecessary. And again, for the longest charging ultimate in the game, to use it incorrectly is basically going to cost you the game, right? Not having beat here is going to be huge. So this is where I'm talking about in terms of positioning, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. You overextended by going up to the doorway. You should never have been here, especially once you realize there's a bastion, okay? You should have been no further than this corner and playing back. Because what are you going to do here, right? You can come over here and speed your ride out if you want to. In that case, you should be right side of the elephant, right? Left side of elephant makes no sense here. You're going to overextend, Molten Core gets popped, and then you get locked off here. Again, if you were playing here or playing here, you're good. Speed the ride out, you're fine. But because Molten Core locks you off, you get stuck for a moment where you're like, oh, what do I do here? You go speed, and then you're like, and you see, like, I see you, like, kind of waffling as to, like, what to do here. You're screwed either way, right? You come back out here, you take a ton of damage, and you die, or you come back through here, and your Rhine dies. And after that, you lose the fight, right? Again, beat could have helped you out in that situation as well, which you would have had if you kept your beat, but, you know, is what it is. So we're going to come out again. Remember, attrition, bad. Okay? You just look for, what is this shooting? Alright, your Rhine's in. So once Rhine's in, commit. Okay? If Rhine dies, like, the fight's over anyway. So Rhine goes in right now, just go in. Right? Go in, try to kill somebody. Because that's all you can do in this situation. You spamming is not going to help anybody do anything. Like, you're not adding any value right now. Very lucky to save your Rhine in this situation. Rhine dies anyway. I mean, I would question whether or not staying alive makes a difference here. I definitely do not want to stagger. See, like, you see how you're just holding down the attack trigger. It's very obvious you're just holding down the attack trigger. So you're not doing a good job farming ulti at all. Like, none of the things that you're doing right. Like, you should be farming ulti. Like, you have 66% left. You should have plenty of time to farm ulti, if not 2 ultis in this period of time. You need to find angles to attack people to get ulti. Right? This way, get farm ultimate. Gotta farm ultimate. You're just shooting the wall over and over again. So we're over here. Again, like, shooting, watch the shots on the Moira. See, it's just like going into the floor. I don't know what you're doing right now, and you're not reloading with 4 ammo. And as your team goes in, like, what are you doing at this moment in time? Your team is going in right now. Your Tracer is low, and your Baptiste can't heal because your Baptiste is focused on the tank. You haven't reloaded, and you're just chilling here. Just reload. Like, why aren't you going in? Right? You go in and you miss everything. This is tough to watch. Okay, so right again, you have a tank here that you should be like 100% accuracy. You miss all 4. Right? Then you boop after firing 1 shot, which misses. Then you fire 4 shots, of only which 2 hit. Right? Then you only hit 1 there. Then you hit 0 there. I mean, you're literally giving up hundreds and hundreds of damage in fights because you just can't hit people. I think your game sense, to be perfectly honest, I think your movement is fine. I think your game sense has probably carried you here versus your actual like mechanics, which again on Lucio is going to be a big problem to try to keep climbing because of at higher ranks how incredibly like duelist reliant he is to get more value. I would say all the supports are going to be like that, but like here Lucio especially. So Ryan's getting super low here. Last fight, you pop beat. I think this is fine, right? You speed in, but Ryan's charging. This is kind of unlucky. I don't know that you really could have done anything super differently other than try to get more elevation. Like, after you beat it, you could have, like, hopped and gone to the left, for example, which actually probably would have been a better idea versus going through yeah, I think that would have been a better call. Go up through here and go over the top, which would have also prevented this charge from being a problem. Okay, so, in summary, I would say, number 1, you gotta hit shots. You really gotta hit shots. I literally think your accuracy needs to be 3 to 4 times what it is right now. It is a massive problem for you. Not even on squishies. Like forget killing squishies. Just being able to hit tanks so you can farm ult charge is a big problem for you. Number 1. Number 2 is using beat at the right times, keeping track of like, hey, are we up? Are we down? Do we really need beat? Beat is, longest or second longest charging ultimate in the game. And it used to be the longest, I think it still is probably. So you can't waste it. Can't waste beats, right? If I waste a single beat in a game, I would assume I would lose the game, right? Just even one mistake, once you start hitting upper levels, I would assume you're going to lose the game. The next one would be right position, right time. Okay, very important as Lucio. Again, you don't add much in terms of healing. It's about your ability to influence things very quickly with your boops and your dueling ability, right? Assassination abilities. That's what can really turn games around for you as Lucio, and that's what you're not always doing. I think most of the time you're actually okay. Obviously, there's some rounds where you just kind of wipe over the team. I think you have generally the right reads, but sometimes being slightly out of position, for example, when you get locked off by Molten Core, that ends up screwing you over and preventing you from being able to win games. In general, if you ask me, does this look like Masters gameplay? It does not, right? To be perfectly honest, it doesn't look like Masters gameplay. I think on PC, I would say this probably looks like low diamond, upper plat. But aim is also a factor there, right? So if you remove the aim factor, which for the record I think you have below average aim even for Lucio on console, I would say that it feels like low to mid diamond. Definitely not consistently Masters level play. Again, I think your game sense is better than your aim. I think you need to boost up your aim and you need to really perfect the game sense decision making. Okay, cool. I'll stop there. Hopefully that's helpful.